Welcome everyone, this is Kerjims channel. Now we are back to our new episodes of two semi-random champions and comparison featured by Wild Rift, League of Legends versus the Mobile Legend Bang Bang. But before that, please like and subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified to our new next episode video. Let's do this!
Vladimir is a tank caster hybrid who uses health to cast his various spells. His passive gives him health for buying ability power, and gives him ability power for buying health. His first ability is Transfusion. It's a direct single target nuke, which heals him for 1/4 of the damage. Second is Sanguine Pool. Vladimir dissolves into liquid, slowing and damaging enemies he floats under. He heals himself for 15% of the damage dealt, dodges any projectiles thrown at him, and removes all enemy minion aggro. Tides of Blood is his third spell. It deals damage to nearby enemies and gives Vladimir bonus healing and regeneration. If he casts the spell quickly in sequence, it increases the damage, health cost, and healing gain. Vladimir's ultimate is Hemoplague. Afflicted enemies take bonus damage from all sources for 5 seconds, and take significant damage afterwards. My rune page holds magic penetration, health per level, cooldown reduction, and flat health. My masteries are 9-0-21, taking magic penetration in offense, and all the non-mana masteries in utility. Ignite and Ghost allow me to chase down and kill enemies, as well as run away using Sanguine Pool. Vladimir excels in controlling the lane. At level 6 or 7, you can start wearing down your opponent. At 500 health, Sivir will die to Tides of Blood, Hemoplague, and Transfusion, even though I have nothing but Adorn's Shield and runes for bonus damage. Sanguine Pool makes for a great escape spell. Gragas, Garen, and Sivir all try to kill me. However, I make a point to drop into the pool before Garen can silence me. Spirit Visage is my first major item. A good standard spell combo is Transfusion and Tides of Blood, followed immediately by Sanguine Pool. Once I become human again, my two main spells are already refreshed and ready for cast. The invulnerability from the turret also makes diving a breeze. While pushing top, the opposing Vladimir attempts to defend the turret. I initiate and then drop turret aggro with Sanguine Pool. As I come out, my basic spell combo of Transfusion and Tides of Blood picks up the kill. However, I've been severely hurt, and Garen comes in for the gank. I preemptively pool to dodge his silence. While he attacked me afterwards, the delay has caused him to take significant damage from Gangplank and minions. When he returns, I'm once again able to dodge Decisive Strike using Sanguine Pool. This time he's so heavily injured that after Transfusion, he dies to Gangplank's passive, Grog-Soaked Blade. Vladimir really shines in teamfights. With 4 of them grouped up, I open with Tides of Blood, Hemoplague, and then Sanguine Pool. As I return to form, Transfusion and Tides of Blood help us kill Gragas and Sion. Ryleigh's Crystal Scepter is the next important buy. My extreme damage output allows me to chop up Sivir very quickly. Then, as Vladimir attempts to escape, the slow from Ryleigh's on top of Transfusion allows the rest of my team to catch up. I pick up Randuin's Omen to give me significant health regeneration, and to cap out my cooldown reduction. In the large fight at top, I spam my normal spells until my team is ready to fight. Then, using Hemoplague on top of Cannon Barrage and Soul Shackles gives us an easy victory. As I take turret aggro, I use Sanguine Pool to dodge Sion's Cryptic Gaze just before it hits me, which allows me to escape the turret. We start another fight as the push continues. Again, I hold off on Hemoplague until my team has baited them into a compact formation for Morgana and Gangplank's ultimates. In the resulting carnage, we mop up all 4 of the enemy champions with almost no danger to ourselves. While Vladimir is not officially a vampire, if you want to roleplay as one, remember to buy lots of elixirs and a Sunfire cape. Real vampires sparkle.
Where there is light,
First
first off, we'll start with Vlad's passive. Every 40 points of bonus health gives 1 ability power, and every 1 point of ability power gives Vladimir 1.4 bonus health. This is why you build each health and AP, so Vladimir can stack it. But just so you know, it does not stack within itself on the passive. Otherwise, that would be kind of broken. But once it hits the second charge, your bar will go red, meaning while your bar is red, your transfusion will do a lot of damage and a lot of healing towards yourself. And it costs 20% of his health, and he becomes untargetable. He also heals himself for 50% of the damage dealt and slows enemies by 40%. So this will be used as an alternative to Zhonya's Hourglass and to avoid a bunch of targeted ultimates, you know, like a Karthus ulti. But I think if you get precasted with an ability like a stun, like a LeBlanc E, you will most definitely get stunned if it pre-hits you and you turn into a pool. Your pool ability will also remove turret aggro, so you can use this for diving and helping you to get out, or you can use it to engage and help slow every single enemy down. And then we'll move over to Vladimir's E, which is Tides of Blood, and every time you use it, it will cost 8% of your health. So it has two different casts. Your first cast is where it charges up, but when you're on the first charge, Vladimir does slow himself by 20%. If the charge finishes or is interrupted, he automatically initiates the second cast, and his second cast is he unleashes a bunch of blood bolts that go everywhere. Now the one thing to note is one Nova Ball can only collide with one enemy. Even if 2 Nova Balls hit one enemy, it will not stack the damage, but they will only stack on minions, because otherwise this would be a really broken ability. For at least 1 second, it will slow the enemies for 0.5 seconds. Enemies can intercept multiple bolts because they'll only be hit by one anyway, so it's good for supports that play against Vladimir, that go tanky. But his wave clear is amazing because multiple minions can absorb multiple bolts, so it doesn't really just Hemo Plague. Vladimir infects all enemies in a target area with his Plague, which increases the damage they take from all sources by 10%, and this will last for 4 seconds. So this is kind of like a Zed ulti, but instead of stacking AD, you're stacking AP, so well, you're not really stacking AP, you're just doing more damage while they're more vulnerable to take more damage. And then when your ulti ends, you will get a mass amount of healing from the enemy, so it will absorb a bunch of their health and give it to you. As to why people complain about why Vladimir is so broken. Vladimir is healed for every champion damage by the detonation, so it's reduced to 50% after the first champion. Because if it was 100% by every champion, then wow, he's not gonna die. So those were Vladimir's abilities. Just to give a quick rundown, I'm just gonna tell you what the abilities will do. You can use Hextech Proto Belt while you're in your pool mode as well, so you can do damage while they can't even touch you. And then Vladimir's ability is what you use for wave clear, using it for doing a lot of damage, because this thing is gonna be the thing that makes you do a lot of damage. Considering Vladimir is a late game champion, your ability is gonna be doing so much damage, you can charge it up, flash, and hit every single target in the enemy team. The best part about Vladimir as well is he is so good at engaging team fights. Enemy team will panic. They will probably end up attacking someone else before they even go back to you, while you're doing heaps of damages to them. And this is why Vladimir is terribly broken in most cases of this. But remember, there is counterplay to this champion, which is what I'll come to later. And then Vladimir's ultimate, this is what you use in team fights. You want to put it on as many people as you can in a team fight, and then you can engage, because this thing will be healing you for a heck ton. Just make sure you wait out the full 4 seconds. Those two can delay out 4 seconds entirely, or you can go in with your 4 seconds that you have, damage everyone, pool at the very last bit, and get all your healing back to use your abilities once again. So this is why Vladimir is so strong and why everybody is wanting to play him right now, and he's mainly played top lane or mid lane as well. And this is where the builds and the runes sometimes differentiate, and the matchups as well. Now I'm gonna take you to Vladimir's runes, and the one thing to note is there are many different rune pages that you can go on Vladimir. I'm gonna show you 2 specific ones that I've been using that really help when playing with Vladimir and helps with nearly every matchup. Now when starting off with Vladimir, you want to go Phase Rush, Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm. Going into Inspiration, going Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight, with the mini runes going CDR, Adaptive Force, and Health. Now Phase Rush is beautiful when you're running against your enemy. Usually you would take Ghost on Vladimir, but a lot of people don't do that anymore, so you can use Phase Rush to run against your enemies because it will help reduce the amount of slow that your E does and that your pool does. Well, generically, and it's not really that fast, but when you're having Phase Rush, you can always stick to your enemies, and when you have max CDR, you can spam your abilities while keeping up to chase with them, because you'll be healing while chasing them and they can't do anything. Because you want to get the early CDR you can, along with building excessive CDR, having to give you more damage. Gathering Storm helps Vladimir in the late game, because he's a super strong late game champion. He's not going to be doing a lot early game, he's just going to be farming. Same with the mid game, he'll just be maybe killing here and there, maybe he can 1v1 his laner, but he'll also be farming. Farming is one big thing that you need to do with Vladimir. Then on Inspiration, you want to go Magical Footwear. Now this screenshot was taken a while ago, which means I've not updated how Magical Footwear has been changed, but it still is a good rune to take on Vladimir. Magical Footwear did get get a slight nerf in the minutes. It appears at 12 minutes, but when you take down an enemy champion, 45 seconds is knocked off instead of 30 seconds. So it's actually quite ideal skill to take because it can work out for you as long as you're getting some roams in as well. I think it will really help to get magical footwear really early. And then Cosmic Insight helps to get that excessive CDR that you might need entirely over your kit because you're gonna need as much CDR as you can. And then when you go CDR rune, this is such an important rune. When you go all of this, by 10 minutes, I guarantee you can get up to 30 to 45% CDR. I've already done it many times. By 10 minutes, you can get so much CDR. And then on the second rune page, I just changed the secondary to Domination and put Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter. This really can help in terms of how much healing you can get, but the only reason why I go this less is because I already think Vladimir has enough healing and damage himself, which is why I'd go back to Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. But this is somewhat of an option, and there are many other things that you can do with Vladimir, because he is quite flexible when it comes to the runes. Just make sure you don't take Vladimir jungle like I did one time, because I intend. Then we'll move you to Vladimir's build. For starter items, you can go Dark Seal and Refillable Pot. This is my most common option because I always get greedy for the Magi stacks. So whenever I do get kills, I will always go for the Magi stacks. If I do fail out while having the Dark Seal, I'll sell it later to build up to another item. But my most generic start will be Refillable Pot, Dark Seal. You can go Corruption Pot, or you can go 3 pots as well. If you have a really strong matchup against you, you can go Doran Shield. I really do advise that. And if you want to really quick rush your item while you know you're stronger than your enemy laner, you can go Ruby Crystal so you can quick rush your items. Now for core starter, you want to go for the boots, which are Sorcerer's Shoes. You want to get Fiendish Codex actually first before any other item. When you're starting with Vladimir, you always want to rush this item at the very beginning. You get 900 gold, you go recall, buy this item. This item will be built up later. The only reason you build this now is to get the CDR really fast. You get damage and CDR, which is what you're looking for early on in the game. Blasting One can help you build most of Vladimir's main items, so you can build this a lot later. Needlessly, Large Rod is going to be used to build your Spellbinder or Rabadon's Death Cap, and Hextech Revolver is going to be your second main item that you go after Fiendish Codex, because the first item you want to rush is your Hextech Proto Belt. If you've been in lane long enough to farm up a lot of gold for the Proto Belt, then you can get that before you get your Fiendish Codex, because sometimes 2 top laners can get really stubborn about their farm, especially when they have TP or not, because they want to contest a lot of farm as well. So if you end up being top lane and you have enough gold to buy the Proto Belt straight away, go for it. So you can build any kind of boots depending on what kind of matchups you go against. If you go against really tough AD matchups, go Ninja Tabby. Otherwise, if they have a lot of CC and AP, you can go Mercury Treads. Otherwise, you want to go for a lot of damage and go Sorcerer's Shoes. Banshee's Veil is a decent item considering it gives you magic resist, a spell shield, and a bunch of damage. Zhonya's Hourglass is really good because you can use it to remain on target. Rabadon's Death Cap is going to be your core damaging item straight after you build your Proto Belt. Now this is how the build order works. You're going to go Proto Belt first, and then you want to build your Death Cap, then your Zhonya's. If there's a strong AD matchup, then you go Zhonya's Hourglass earlier than you do your Rabadon's Death Cap. The quicker you go Rabadon's, the more damage you do, and the more it helps out for your passive, your Qs, and your ultimates, because it really does help with your scalings and your passive. Morellonomicon's really good considering it inflicts grievous wounds, so this will be good against matchups like Nasus and Maokai. Void Staff is really good to have like as a 4th item because it does a lot of penetration. Ionian Boots is really good if you want to rush the CDR, because you can get it really fast. If you want to go 45% CDR in the first 8 to 10 minutes, you can get Ionian Boots, Fiendish Codex, and then you have your Transcendence and the Mini Rune giving you CDR all at once. Proto Belt to help you with the wave clear and pretty much to be your main item. You can use this while you're in your W form, not in your E form, just be careful of that. Rod of Ages is an option as well, but I wouldn't really highly recommend it, but it can work out to be like a tanky, late game scaling kind of item. Spirit Visage could be built as well because it will amplify all of Vladimir's healing. This will be a good late game healing item, but if they don't have a lot of AP, and if they're not doing a lot of damage to you anyways, you don't really have to build this. Leandry's Torment is probably my go-to item when I am falling off in some way or form, because it does a lot of burn damage and keeps you alive in team fights, because while they're burning, your stuff's coming back off cooldown and you can reapply the heals that you get. Spellbinder is really good because you can rush up on enemies, and movement speed is really good to have on Vladimir because you can run down on enemies and do heaps of damage on them when you have 100 stacks on your Spellbinder. Otherwise, you can go Realize Crystal Scepter if you want to slow them down. If you have maximum stacks on your Dark Seal and hope that you're not going to die, you can go Medjai's. You want to buy Control Wards as many times as you can, so when you take pressure over your laner, you can put it in the river. Take Oracle if you're going up against matchups like Teemo. Buy the AP Elixir if you're at maximum build, and go Blue Wards if necessary or if nobody else on your team has built it.